Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Ken's Cuts. Happy Saturday. It's a crazy weather kind of day here in central New Jersey. Supposed to be mid to high 80s and very high humidity later today. I wanted to get outside early. I'm actually hunkered down between my trailer and my SUV, trying to stay out of the wind, so forgive me if there's wind noise. I got the body mic pretty close, so hopefully it's going to sound pretty good. Anyway, on last week's video, when I unveiled the AXIS, I talked about a new tree service score that I had gotten as a result of selling my box store Huskee splitter. And that gentleman brought me a load of cherry, and it's on a blacktop road, which is an easement to green space behind us, and it's 2 doors from me. It's easy access for the guys because they can back in on the blacktop road, dump the wood, and then drive straight back out. So I need to get this cherry moved today before it gets too hot. And my plan is to leave it on the trailer and back up tight to the AXIS and push the rounds off right onto the lift table and not have to handle it, 2 or 3 more times. I would typically put this stuff on pallets and then split it when I'm ready. But in this case, it's about 3/4 of a cord in the round, and some of the pieces are big. So I'm going to use a hand truck to wheel them onto the trailer, and we'll go from there. So let me get set up and get the hand truck ready, and we'll be right back to you. Alright guys, I'm not going to bore you with this. This is one of the most tedious projects about dealing with firewood. But anyway, I'll just talk to you for a minute here and then we'll put you on time lapse, speed you up. Like I was saying before, some of this is a little bit punky. When I did the unveil last week, I kind of walked around this pile. Some of it's barkless and punky. The heartwood's still pretty good. But the trunk pieces here, are quite heavy. And this is another trunk piece here. Plenty of good wood in here. It's longer than my smoking length, and I'm not really going to mess with some of these. I'll go ahead and leave these as they are and just split them for fire pit wood, heating wood, etc. There's smaller lengths that are closer to my smoking length, so I'll call those out and split those and take the heartwood out of the centers for the smoking bundles, and then the slab wood will go into the fire pit and heating wood stacks as well, irregardless of the length. For the fire pits and heating wood, the lengths don't typically matter. And they're all, under 16, so, that's fine. So that's what we got going on. Let me grab these couple big ones and get them out of the way. And then we'll speed you out and put you in time lapse. Like this one here, super light, super punky. It's probably going to go right into my fire pit because I won't even want to mess with it. I'll just quarter it up and use it in my solo stove because that thing will eat. Oh boy. That solo stove will eat just about anything, regardless if it's got a little moisture or it's a little punky. The Solo won't care. This piece is going to give me a hard time. I know, I can see it. So let's just get this one out of the way first. Just going to carry these up quite light. And us woodhounds, as we always say, dealing with tree service wood, you know, when the trailer shows up or the truck shows up, it's a case of, you know, you have to take everything. It's all or nothing. So we'll just process through it. And there's plenty of good stuff here behind me. But a big piece like this, I'll just lift it onto the axis, chunk it up, and determine what's the best option for a beast like this. It's big. Pretty solid. Looks like it was probably the stump piece, the base piece. And as you see, it's got a lot on the one side is rotten, but some good wood in the middle. You can always do the old-fashioned way. Roll it on. Like I said, you take the good with the bad. Now we have a bunch of about 14.5, 15 inches in length. guys. Got about 10 pieces to go. A couple of them are punky. One more trunk piece. And I hopefully can get that one on a hand truck. Looks like they cut the base of the tree in at least 2 or 3 pieces. And it showed up on a dry mark, so I don't know if they used a mini or a loader or if they loaded it by hand. But I've got some respectable ton weight on the trailer already. And I'm just back to the axle. So I've got just enough room for all of this. When I have a drink, and I wanted to talk to you about 2 new customers that I scored this week. On Monday at work, I'm sitting there minding my business, and the cell phone, the local number that I kind of recognized, but there was no name associated with it. And as I answered the phone, this gentleman, Joe, who I used to work with back in 2002 to 2006, he was a weld shop foreman, is buying a brand new workhorse offset smoker, model 1969. And when I answered the phone, he says to me, "Hey, it's Joe, do you remember me?" I said, "Oh, Lord." He said, "Well, I was talking to Art, and Art said he got wood from you last year, and now it's my turn." So Art also worked with me between 02 and 06 at the same company, and last fall he found my marketplace ad and sent me a Facebook message saying he wanted hickory and oak for his offset smoker. And now Joe has just purchased a brand new workhorse, and he has it at his home, and he was looking for wood, and Art gave him my number. So fast forward, we talked for a few minutes, and Joe was asking me for post oak, and I kind of chuckled, and I said, "Post oak doesn't grow in New Jersey." And I said, he said, "Well, what oak do you have?" I said, "I have red and I have white." He says, "Oh, great, I'll take the white oak, and if you have hickory that's dry, I'd like some of that as well." I said, "Perfect, I've got plenty of hickory. I've got shagbark hickory here that's over 2 years old, and the moisture content is at 5%. And the splits are like 4x4, but then I have some other newer smooth bark hickory that is shedding bark. It's a year old, it's ready to go." So we discussed what he wanted. He said he needed 4 bundles, and he was working summer hours, and he would be at my house, within a day or 2. I asked him, give me a day to build the bundles, because I make everything to order. And I said, unless, I can take advantage of the cool weather Monday evening and maybe get it done. So I was able to get it done. And he wanted 4 bundles, and I talked to him about my fire starters. He was very intrigued. He wanted to try them. And then when I had him on the phone, I said, "If you've got a new pit, what are you going to season it with?" He says, "Well, I'm going to use the oak and the hickory to season the pit." And to me, that is sacrilegious, wasting smoking wood just to, season the pit. So I offered him up a milk crate worth of beautiful beech nut and some cherry chunks. And I told him to build a little stack of Lincoln logs in the offset, use one of my fire starters with some of the cherry chunks, and then lay the beech in on top of it. And the seasoning process is oiling and running the pit at 400 degrees for a total of 4 hours. So he's like, "Ho hum, I'll be doing that on Saturday." So as I'm shooting this video, I'm actually thinking of Joe, wondering how he's making out, because we've got some crazy gusty wind to about 15 to 20 here today, with whatever it is that this front is bringing us from the west. Anyway, that was a beautiful order. 4 bundles. I sell my bundles at $20, and they're 1.2 cubic feet. And Joe was thrilled. So he picked up his bundles on Tuesday, left me the money, and then on Wednesday, I had a delivery for another new customer who's been talking to me for a couple of weeks. He's a smoked food caterer. He has a food truck, and in July he's opening a restaurant. And he's in the smoking meat and barbecue group on Facebook that I helped moderate, who is administered by one of my original customers from back in 2022. So Pat runs the group, and Harry was one of the members. And he said, well, I'm getting a smoker and I need some wood. So, of course, 3 or 4 people tagged me, and it opened a dialogue. We were messaging back and forth, and this was like late May, around Memorial Day. Fast forward to last weekend, and he says, sir, I have some more questions. I need splits less than 16 inches. Do you have that? And I said, well, it depends on the variety and the species of wood and what you need. And then it was crickets. So I sent him a picture of my business card, and I said, if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. So on, I don't know, it was Sunday night or Monday night, I was grilling sausage and peppers, and my phone rang, and it was Harry. And he said, hey, I want to talk to you about wood. The smoker was just delivered, and the delivery guy, the slash installer, does competition barbecue. He has one of these smokers. The brand is Southern Pride. Delivered to his door was $24,000. And the delivery guy tells him, you need green wood. These machines work best with green wood. He's planning to do an entire brisket smoke overnight with 1 split of green wood. It's flame assist. It has a burner. The burner gets the box up to temperature, gets the smoker up to temperature. Then the burner kicks off and the wood sits there and smokes. And if the temperature drops off anything less than 230, the burner kicks back on. And that's, rinse and repeat kind of thing. So anyway, he says to me, I need some green wood, and obviously I don't need a whole lot of it because I'm only going to use 1 split a day. What do you have that's green? Last Saturday, I literally split up the balance of the northern pecan that I have. So that light bulb came on, and I said, well, I've got some fresh pecan here. And I thought Harry was going to come through the phone. He was like, oh my God, you have pecan? I'll take a bundle of pecan. What else do you have that's green? So sitting here on pallets, I've got cherry. Obviously, I'm sitting on cherry. That cherry on the pallets is drier. That's been here since like March. And I said I've got sugar maple that I talked about a couple of weeks ago. That was a score that I made on my own. And I said, well, right now, green, I have sugar maple, cherry, and pecan. He said, that sounds great. So Monday night, I got to run the AXIS, and I got to make some absolutely beautiful, I would say my best work to date. Those bundles looked phenomenal because the cuts are all nice and square. And I bundled those bad boys up Monday night and delivered them to his restaurant on Wednesday. And we were going to meet halfway, and he said, well, if you want to come to the restaurant, you can see the smoker. So I left work Wednesday with the bundles in tow and my hand truck, and I went to his restaurant. It was an additional 10 minutes down the road, but for a new customer and to get to see his equipment, I was excited. So I texted him to say I would be there, gave him a time, and he said, oh, that's awesome. We're actually running the smoker. Was putting it through its paces with a hickory split that the gentleman had left him, and he was smoking up some small pork loins and a ring of smoked lobster, which didn't really take on much additional because it's already smoked. But while I was there delivering, I literally spent about an hour talking to Harry and his friend Greg, who was helping him do some trim work in the restaurant. Greg shakes my hand and says, oh, I follow you on Facebook. And I said, Greg, what is your last name? And he told me. Come to find out, he's actually in the BBQ Group. He does competition barbecue with his offset smoker. So I was there for an hour plus talking to the guys. And while I was there, Harry pulled out the smoked pork loin and sliced that bad boy up. And in 2 hours with a single hickory split, the pink smoke ring was at least 1/4 of an inch around the perimeter of the pork. And he sliced it up, and he says, I think it's ready to go. He cut into it. It was perfect. It was moist. The smoke flavor was ridiculous. I couldn't believe the amount of smoke in the restaurant. And, not hazy smoke, just the smoke aroma. He has the smoker under a hood, And the salesman, slash delivery guy said to him, I have a suggestion. When you're serving food during the day, if you have the smoker running and you're doing, wings or pulled chicken or something, he goes, turn off the vent. Let that smoke billow up. Let the customers smell it, and they'll be back for more. So while I was driving out there, I had a brilliant brainstorm, and I said to Harry, I've got an idea. And he said, why, what's that? And I said, if you pick up a small chalkboard and hang it somewhere up front by the registers, you could actually change it on the daily and say that, either say that your meat has been smoked by hickory, pecan, cherry, maple, etc., or just do a smoke flavor of the day and list the flavor that you're using that day. And I said, you might think it sounds corny, but just something I had in mind. He said, that's actually a great idea, because I'm going to have my wife come up with some kind of a chalkboard, look for some Etsy ideas. And that was the last thought that I left him. And they are actually going to be smoking a total of 17 racks of ribs today. Greg is smoking ribs to take to a party. And Harry's actually got a catering event. They asked for 7 racks of ribs. And the smoker's rolling today with pecan as I'm shooting this video. So I cannot wait to hear from those guys. But anyway, I'm going to have another sip here. And we're going to put you back in time lapse. And we're going to finish up this pile. And that's about all we got for now. And then I'm going to share some pictures of the smoker at Harry's place, and then some of my bundles after the next segment. So stick around.
So high I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high.
Alright guys, so that's all we got for this one. Hope you enjoyed those photos that I just shared of my deliveries and Harry's smoker and Joe's bundles that I left him on the front porch. As I mentioned before, I left Joe a couple stickers, a couple business cards, and a handful of fire starters for him to try. And I'll be reaching out here in a little bit once I get this trailer parked, see how Joe's doing, and then I'll be reaching out to Harry to see how his rib smoke is going. 17 racks going over there with a single piece of pecan. That just baffles me that they can use green wood. And Harry said about once every 10 days they'll have to do a deep clean of the smoker, wipe down the racks, check the stack, the exhaust vents, etc. Make sure everything is clean, because unfortunately, as everybody knows, the green wood can possibly create a little bit of creosote, but from the remains of that hickory split that I saw, it looked like it was burning pretty well. So he may be pleasantly surprised. He may not see much creosote buildup at all, which will be a blessing for him and his staff, obviously. So thanks again for watching, sticking with me to the end. And as I always say, if you like this kind of stuff, please go ahead and click that subscribe button and that like button, and share with your friends. And in the show notes below, I'm going to actually put a link to the smoking meat and barbecue group that I help to moderate on Facebook as well. So if any of you are into cooking and barbecue, pizza ovens, etc., and you're interested in joining that group, there's over 1,000 of us in there, from as far away as Australia, believe it or not, and as far west as Michigan, Wisconsin, etc. So thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day, and get outside, get cutting, and we'll catch you next Sunday. Take care.